So this is the part of the forest I dreaded the most, and I know it's going to be a lot of work and it's going to take a long time to get through. This is the east side of the property, and it's got to be the densest, most debris-ridden part of the forest. I'm not sure how well you can see, but the good thing is pretty much all of this in here through here, all standing dead. So I'm not too worried about it. But there's so much of it that I'm going to grab the chainsaw and just start cutting this stuff into little pieces. There's a couple standing ones I'm just going to take down. And as you know, little ones like this, I'll drop on my own. Anything big, I never, ever fell alone. All I want to do is get myself about 50 feet into that little clearing that you might be able to see through the trees. For reference, you may be able to see in some of the videos, you'll see some of the trees are marked. My property line is about 30-40 feet to the right of me, and the property line is following the direction you're looking. So I'm trying to go across this east end. I know way through the trees up there is where the other trail comes out that I stopped on, I think, day 3. And right now it's actually day 5. Although I'm blending days in, as I mentioned to you folks, I got a lot of work to do, so I'm trying to film and give you some of the highlights, but I can't carry you with me the whole way every day. Hope you'll stick around. Let's fire up that still. Things a couple of subscribers reminded me of, which I think is important to remember. If you're like me, you've never run one before and you're going to be renting one, I think it's really helpful if you watch a lot of YouTube videos and watch the guys work them and pay attention to the specs or the capacities of the unit that you're working. One thing that's really important to keep in mind is I think it's similar to a tractor, or at least I kind of compare it to a tractor. When you're carrying load, you always, when possible, you want to keep that load in tight to the excavator. You don't want to hang it out there 16 feet all the time. I think, you know, similar to what you do with your bucket on the tractor, you want to make sure that when you pick up a load or your bucket of gravel, you know how you always curl back into the tractor, or you bring it in tight to the loader, you don't leave it out. And you kind of, I think, do the same thing with the excavator. The other big thing to be aware of is that you'll see in the specs of the unit that your ability to lift or do work when you're, as I'm focused right now, blade is exactly in front of me, the unit is parallel with the blade, you have much more stability with that blade in front of you or behind you, depending on what you're lifting. As soon as you start to turn and you start digging or lifting to the side of the unit, you'll see in the spec sheets on the units, you have a lot of capacity loss. It can't do as much. And of course, it's also not as stable as it would be. I'm stuck there. As it would otherwise be if you were doing it from the front of the unit. So just kind of maybe an important thing to think about or to remember when you're working the unit. I'm free, I'm free. Boom out. Watch out for the trees, they're everywhere. I'm hoping I can push these away from me to the left and not back at me, so we'll find out in a minute. Sound familiar? Got it all out. Got all of my brush piled over here and a little bit over here on the side, and I'm right through, and I'm just about at that clearing I told you about. She's a little slower moving than the rest of the trail so far, but I totally expected this side of the property was going to be a bit more tedious. Really happy to have this excavator. Really wicked thunder and rainstorm that lasted right over through most of the night from yesterday afternoon. A friend of mine told me to get this thing out of the forest, as they were expecting lightning as well. I'm not sure if we got the lightning, but he told me to make sure I got it back to base camp and got out of it before it started. I guess hanging a big stick of steel like this in a lightning storm is probably not the safest place to be. Big challenges I've had here since the beginning is there's so much rock, and especially large rock, that when you're trying to smooth out the path, because there's so many dips and undulations, so you try to find fill and all you find is rock again, and you need to somehow fill in around the rocks that are causing the big dips and undulations, because it tilts this thing sideways, and everywhere you dig into yet another rock. There it is right there. You can probably hear that. Let's zoom up a bit. Hopefully it's a little bit better. And I'm sure in time I could use the box blade and the tractor to try to, smooth this stuff out a little better. But for now, I'm not quite as fluid with this thing. But it's just so hard, because you dig all over the place around you, you move backwards, you go forwards, and all you're trying to do is find some kind of dirt or fill so that you can make the track a little flatter. reason I had to remove the first one is this excavator kept getting stopped on it. It couldn't get over it. Excavator, I guess, has a really low center of gravity, so it's a very low riding unit, and it does not have a lot of clearance. Yeah, see, I don't want to move. That's another rock. So several times during the last week, I'll catch a boulder like that. It doesn't look like it's too bad, but it is. The excavator literally gets, I guess the chassis underneath gets caught on it and it won't go. So you have no choice but to remove it. Just gotta see if I can find some fill here. We got some. Hopefully you're not uprooting any trees at the same time. Much better. Bit of a dip, but not bad. You can live with that, I think. Well, that's about as far as I'm going to be going. I hope you enjoyed this Excavator Week video series. Learned a lot of things and it was a lot of fun. A little scary at times. But what I will do is the next video after this, I'll probably put out a video just kind of summarizing my experience as a first-time mini excavator operator, especially for folks that have been considering renting one as I did here, and maybe sharing some information or experiences that I have had this week that might help you if you do decide to rent one for the very first time. Thanks again for sticking around with me. If you like the channel, please click subscribe, hit the like button, and if you want to know when I'm posting videos, just click that little bell. Have a wonderful and safe week with your friends and family. Please be kind. I'll see you again right here on GP Outdoors. Cheers.